guys, welcome back to another episode of Guitar Talk with Todd here at Todd Beebe Music. Thank you guys so much for checking in. You know I appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button in the lower right hand corner. Help me get my subscribers up here. I really appreciate you guys being with us and checking in. We've always got something going on here. Artist interviews, guitar lessons, music memorabilia, and guitar reviews, which is what we are doing today. This is an awesome Gibson Nighthawk edition. The Nighthawk guitars, to kind of give you a little bit of history about them, they came out in the early 90s, 1992, I believe was the first run. They ran till about 1998, and they never really caught on big time with the public. There's been variations, all kinds of different styles. I believe 1996... till about 2006, Gibson introduced the Blueshawk, which is pretty similar to this, but it's a semi-hollow body. It's got the F holes on it, and you'll see those pop up too. They're both very, very cool models in the Gibson line, but again, they never really caught on. I know in about 2009, they reintroduced a limited run of the Nighthawk, and I believe 2013... Nancy Wilson of Heart even had her own model that they introduced and they put out. And I think they still do one-offs of it here and there because the people that do love them. They have a pretty big, I guess you'd call it a cult following, but they just never caught on, you know, like the Les Paul or something would. So to get some close-ups here, it's got a lot of the features that you'd expect on a Gibson, but a lot of, I guess, what we would also call very Fender-esque features. So we've got mahogany body with a maple cap on it. It's not a carved top like you would have on a Les Paul. Two mini humbuckers on this one. A lot of the original models, especially when they first came out in 92, had the one straight humbucker and then the other one was slanted. This is a limited run. This one was actually from the Landmark series that Gibson put out, and they did like different, you know, parks and stuff. This is called Mojave Burst, and we're going to look at the stamped on the back of the headstock. We'll take a look at that when we do some close-ups. I know they also did one in Glacier Blue that you see the back of the headstock was stamped on that too, and that was a limited run that they did of the Nighthawk, and they called those the Landmark series. This is a 1997 model, so this was getting towards the end of the original run there, which I believe kind of tapered off in about 1998. Alright guys, so here is a piece of paper that came with the guitar. I'm just going to read right off of here. It kind of describes a little bit more about it. So it says you have a 1997 Gibson Landmark series. The Landmark are Nighthawks with paint and finishes meant to represent United States national parks and monuments. Each Landmark guitar is marked Landmark Series on the back of the headstock and included a decal identifying the park or monument it commemorated. The Landmark Series uses two M Series mini humbuckers instead of the standard Nighthawk combination of one mini humbucker and one slanted humbucker. So we were talking about that before. So the Landmark series is really a cool and different thing that they did with the Nighthawk. But getting back to looking at it here, got some nice features. We've got the mother of pearl Gibson logo, typical Gibson bell-shaped truss rod cover. Got the gold hardware going on here. Rosewood fingerboard with dot inlays. Only one volume and one tone control. A three-way selector switch. And obviously that's very Fender-esque too. And probably the biggest thing that you just never ever see on Gibson guitars are these saddles that are obviously very Fender-esque too. So this would kind of be what you would describe as like a, you know, if a Les Paul and a Fender Strat or maybe a Telecaster had a child, this was it. So it's a very cool guitar, a lot smaller body than you have even on a Les Paul. And just like I said, some very Fender-esque things going on here. No binding on the neck. We've got binding on the front, not the back on this one. And these are just nice little guitars. These mini humbuckers sound great. So great. That was all pretty much on the neck. Was all on the neck pickup. Like I said, this is a three-way selector, so you can go middle pickup or middle selector rather, and you've got both the neck and the bridge pickup, and then all the way down just gives you the bridge pickup. This one actually has the coil taps on it too. So what that does, if you're not familiar, you can pull up on the volume knob, or I'm sorry, in this case the tone knob, and basically now it turns these into single coil. And now we're going back to humbucker because I popped that back down. So we got single coil, humbucker. Kind of a nice little feature that you can use with that. Not really something that, you know, I use a ton on that. I've never really worked with coil taps much. They're just an awesome feature to have. But, you know, me personally, if I want a single coil, I'm going to grab probably like a Les Paul with a P90 in it or something. Or if I want humbuckers, I'm going with humbuckers. But that being said, if you know, that's an awesome feature that you can get that right on the same guitar. So I'm sure a lot of you do use that feature. Please comment below. Let me know. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't. You know, I'm either going to grab a humbucker or I'm grabbing a single coil guitar, and I pretty much run with that through the night at the gig or whatever's going on, you know. So I don't tend to use coil taps a lot, but they're an awesome feature. So these are just beautiful little guitars. Like I said, they are a little bit smaller body. For me, if I had one kind of thing that I would say is a little bit bothersome to me, that would be it. I like to rest my arm on a Les Paul or even a bigger guitar while I'm playing. This almost kind of seems like nothing's there. I mean, you do get used to it, and it's very light and easy to maneuver and just real easy to work with, but I do kind of miss that. It almost seems like the body might be too small at times. The only other complaint I guess I would have about it is because of the smaller body and where the volume and tone are positioned at, you tend to like this is the volume control right here, and it's right under. I tend to really get like swing in when I'm strumming a lot of times with my hand, which again is really just a downfall of my own. I should control my right hand more. But that being said, a lot of times when I come down and I'm strumming fast, playing around with this earlier, I did it and I accidentally hit, you know, like that, and you're running right into the volume. Whereas, you know, on a Les Paul or something, where you've got the two-tone, two-volume lower down, that never gets in the way for me. So that's a little bit too close for comfort to me right there. You got to kind of watch that. That being said, is that really a big factor to like or dislike the guitar? No, I would not even really talk about that if this wasn't a review. But I'm just listing all things we got going on here. That being said, too, I know those of you who follow this channel a lot know I've talked about in other videos in the past, I'm not really big, period, on one volume, one tone control guitars. You know, I like having, I mean, I do have some. I've played a ton of them, and there's some beautiful instruments out there made that way. That being said, if I'm going to a gig, I like to have that double channel, as I like to call it, where I've got the, you know, I can be up on the neck pickup for a little bit mellower stuff, and then the minute I want to crank it full on, I can hit the four-wheel drive switch and go right into, you know, something a lot harder, maybe for my leads or whatever. And then the minute I'm done, all I got to do is hit that switch and I'm back to, you know, mellow mode versus having to fool around with knobs or volume pedals or any. I don't like using any of that stuff at a live gig, so I like to have that double pickup, this is double pickup, but double selection there where you've got separate controls for each pickup. That would be another thing I guess I would say that I'm not too crazy about on these Nighthawk models. But this is a really cool guitar. I think Gibson, I think a company like Gibson, you're always kind of in a weird position because they're known for their past and their history. You know, when everybody thinks Gibson, Les Pauls, Jimmy Page, you know, ES335, Chuck Berry, Dwayne Allman, Angus Young, you know, with the Gibson SG, Gibson Explorer, Flying V's, Albert King, all that. And I mean, I love all that stuff too. But then from a company standpoint, if you sit around thinking, okay, we should try making a new model, it's like it's hard to get the public to follow you into something new because your past is so iconic. So it's got to be kind of a weird position to be in. I know they've tried multiple things over the years, and a lot of them just don't catch on. This obviously being one of them. The Nighthawk and the Blues Hawk actually caught on better than some other models. I know there's been like the M3 and different models like that through the years that just did not catch on at all, really, with the public. This didn't either, really, but it did somewhat. And like I said, it does have a cult following, and you will see people picking these up. They're actually really neat guitars if you're looking for something that's kind of a hybrid of a Gibson and, you know, Fender type of a deal here versus like the stop bar tailpiece or whatever that you would traditionally have with a Tune-o-matic on a Gibson. This is a whole new breed here, so definitely check them out, you know, if you're looking for something different. But anyway, let's take a look at her in the case now, close up, and look at all these features and stuff we've been talking about. So here we go. Okay, so here is the case for the 1997 Gibson Nighthawk. Looks like your typical, you know, brown case with Gibson USA on it. We've had these cases on the show many times, and many of you know I love the 90s era Gibson. I just love everything about 90s Gibson. So here we go. We open it up. We've got our typical pink interior with the pink shroud. Again, we've had these on here many times. It's pretty weird, though. When you pull this back, you can see at first you're thinking like, oh, this is probably like, you know, about a Les Paul size case. It is not. It tapers in here a lot thinner than on a Les Paul case, and just the entire thing is, you know, quite a bit slimmer up here even. So it is definitely slimmer, but it's got that great pink interior with the brown exterior. Like I said, we've had these cases on this show many times, and we love 90s Gibson here. Let's kind of zoom in on this one. Like we said, this is the Mojave Burst, part of the Landmark series that Gibson did on the Nighthawks here. Overall, in pretty good condition. This is being recorded in 2022. This is a 97, so this thing is 25 years old this year. I mean, you could see in the light here, it's got its fair share of nicks and dings and whatnot. That's a pretty good one right there. But, you know, they're relicing guitars now to look that way. This is real deal relicing here, not from the shop. And besides those little nicks and stuff, I mean, it's in real good shape for 25 years. You know, you're getting some oxidation and wear and tear here on the gold humbuckers, but, you know, and on the bridge down here, but that's all to be, you know, expected for something of this age. So there you can kind of see it more in the light here. I'm trying to focus. Like we said, you got the Fender type of individual saddles for each string, which is definitely something you would have on a Strat or something like that. So this was a whole new ball game for Gibson. They had never done anything like that, and you don't have your stop bar and your tune-o-matic like you traditionally would. And like we're saying, a lot of the early and the more traditional Nighthawks had the one humbucker like this, and then the other one was slanted. I'm going to put some pictures up of those models too. You know, that, and you sometimes had like the 3 with the humbucker here too. So this was a whole different series on the Landmark. I like this better because I'm not big on 3 pickup guitars. I like the little valley here in between the pickups, right where I pick. If that pickup's in the middle, I'm always hitting it and it just bothers me. I mean, I can work with it, but I would rather not have it. So I love this type of setup. This works out great for me personally. Like I said, 1 volume, 1 tone. This is your volume. This is your tone. That also pulls up like we were showing earlier for the coil tap. Got the 3-way selector switch here, which is also very Fender-esque as opposed to, you know, like a 3-way toggle switch that you would have on a Les Paul or something like that would normally be up here. So it's a lot different of a whole different kind of a thing here for Gibson to get into. Very, very different for them, especially at the time. Can kind of see in the light here, it's just a straight, flat, you know, what they would call a maple cap. So it's not really a carved top. I mean, it's not a carved top at all. And a Mojave Burst just looks great there on that maple cap, though. Going down the neck, we've got rosewood fingerboard here with the dot inlays. Really, really great condition here for 25 years old. This guitar has never been refretted. So you always kind of want to look down here in the first 3 frets where everybody does their, you know, cowboy chords, your D, A, and E, and all the open chord stuff. That's usually where you're going to see the most wear and tear. And I mean, there's just nothing on here. This thing's got massive, massive fret life left. So whoever has owned this in the past has not played it very much, but, you know, it did run into a couple of dings and stuff here and there. So when they played it, I guess they did play it well, but just not very, very often. And then coming right up here to the headstock, which is a traditional Gibson. I mean, looking at this right now, it looks just like a Les Paul headstock minus the silkscreen Les Paul logo, but that's, you know, pretty much what you would expect there on a Gibson, your typical look with the Mother of Pearl Gibson logo. Let's flip her over here and take a look at the back. Okay, so something else I want to talk about on this guitar that's very Fender-esque. Look at that. Which obviously you knew by seeing the bridge on the front. The strings are actually fed up through the back of the body. Again, part of what you would have on that type of a bridge with the individual saddles. like that on the front. You just do not see that ever on Gibson guitars. So that was definitely a newer thing for them too. That is very Fender-esque. There's the control cavity for the tone and the volume to get into. Couple of really good. That's just, it almost looks like maybe a dog clawed it or something, or a bobcat or something worse. But man, like I said, this guitar was not played much, but it ran into a couple of good nights, or bad nights, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. Also have the carve there out of the back of the body. You can kind of see that makes it real comfortable to play. And you know, so that really helps out too. Up against your body, it really snuggles in well. Going up the neck here to the headstock, there is that Landmark Series logo. I'm going to get a close-up of that. Mojave Burst. So that's pretty much what that logo looked like. And like I said, I'm going to put some pictures up. You saw some that were like glacier blue and stuff like that. And they had, you know, they would put those on the back of the headstock on the Landmark Series. And then right up here to the Gibson Deluxe Gold tuners. Those have held on to their gold very, very well. I mean, those are the original tuners, and they have not faded or anything in 25 years. So those just look awesome still. All right, let's flip her back over here to the front. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm notorious for doing this. First, let's get a side shot here. There's the output jack. That's also oxidized and, you know, getting a little bit of wear and tear and fade and tarnish there on the gold. Completely normal with the binding going around here. Flipping it over to the other side here, we've got the gold strap button that's, you know, tarnishing up too, as is expected. There's like a real close-up of that cutaway on the back that just makes it real comfortable to play. And then we'll take a look at the strap pin down here on the bottom as well. All right, now let's go back over to the front. All right, so one more shot of her in the case. The Gibson Nighthawk series in Mojave Burst there. Part of the Landmark series in 1997. Just a beautiful instrument. All right, guys, so there she is in the case. The 1997 Gibson Nighthawk in Mojave Burst, part of the Landmark series. Let's take her for a test drive here. I'm going to do a little bit of country stuff, some slide and some blues, and just turn her loose here and see what she sounds like. Here we go. Check her out now. guys, so there she is, the 1997 Gibson Nighthawk in Mojave Burst, part of the Landmark series from Gibson. Like I said, I believe you still see the Nighthawk come out. I know I've seen a 2011 model that's, you know, more recent. And like I said, I believe in 2013 they gave Nancy Wilson her own model of the Nighthawk because she liked it. So like I said, it does have a cult following, and they're really cool guitars. Very light, very... If you're used to playing a Gibson, as far as the fretboard and everything goes, it's very, you know, exactly the same. You'll like the feel, the neck, and everything that you're used to. But then you've got this whole different thing going on here with the Fender type of a bridge, no tunematic, no stop bar. And so it's just a different type of a thing. So if you're looking for something similar to a Gibson that you know, if you're a Gibson guy, I know I am, but yeah, you kind of want to maybe try something that's a little bit different from your traditional stop bar tunematic that you have on every Gibson. Try a Nighthawk out. Try a Blues Hawk out. I know we have one of those coming in also for a review. Like I said, they're very similar to the Nighthawk, but they have the F holes and they're semi-hollow, so they're even a little bit lighter. And it's just a really cool line of guitars that they put out. So let me know, comment, you guys, if you have one of these, if you want one of these, if you've tried one of these. Let me know what you think. I know there's some people that can't stand them because of the Fender-esque type of hardware on here. And there's, like I said, a cult following that loves them. So please comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for checking in, you guys. Find me on Facebook at Todd Beebe Music. And as always, please hit that subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner and help me get my numbers up here. We always have content weekly, sometimes more than once a week. Artist interviews, lessons, music memorabilia, and of course guitar reviews, which is what we had today. So thanks again, you guys, for checking in. Stay safe and love your dogs, and we will see you again. Take care.